think it was January 4th.
Henry's giving me a sign up there, but he's not a master.
December 2nd. There
Okay.
you go.
Okay. Detroit, as far as I can gather, seems to be one of the better rush towns around the country. Is that
Yeah.
what you've experienced yourself?
Oh, yeah. It's been a long-standing rush town for us.
I wonder if you have any way of accounting for that. Have you thought about that very much,
Well, I guess they like it here.
Okay. Rock and roll town, you're playing rock and roll. Listen, would you mind spending a few minutes while we talk about, background of both of you
Sure.
and how the band all got started? Because I haven't had a chance to talk to you before, although...
Certainly. We did talk once, I think.
On the air here?
I think so.
Wasn't it with Jim?
We did once with Jim as well.
Ah.
About 3 years ago.
We have an unusual thing happening here that the gentleman who used to do this program on ABX about a couple of years ago is now working for your record company.
That's right.
And nice gentleman, Jim Sauté. Just
Yes.
I'm sure there's a lot of people listening who remember that name.
Very nice gentleman.
Currently working for Mercury Records, or is it Polygram now?
Mercury, I think.
Still.
Yeah.
Okay, were you guys both native Canadians?
Yep.
Yeah.
Where were you born?
I was born in British Columbia, in Fernie, British Columbia. Moved
Alex.
to Toronto, yeah, when I was about 2 years old.
And I was born in Toronto. Good old Toronto, Ontario.
It's a wonderful city. I haven't been there in a few years, but I have been there a few times, and was most impressed with the record stores on Yonge
there are
Street.
some gigantic record stores in Yonge
Yeah.
Street.
What's the name of that one store that's 3 stories tall, and they have this
Sam.
whole Sam's? Yes.
Sam the record man.
It was Sam.
It was Sam the record man.
Not this. We have a Sam's that's our sponsor here, by the way, Sam's Jams, but it's certainly not the same place. And you guys then went to high school. They have comparable high school situations there that they do here.
Yeah,
And,
Alex and I met in junior high about 10, 11 years ago. And we started playing together in basement bands kind of thing.
So the two of you have been together for a long time.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Neil Peart's been the bassist, or the drummer with the band ever since that first album, I believe. Isn't that
He was
correct?
not on the first album. He came in after the first album. He was on the tour for the first album. But our original drummer left just as the first American tour got underway. And Neil came in to fill in. And that was 5 years ago, so...
And he's been involved with the band ever since?
He's the new guy at 5 years.
Yeah, well, you kind of figure he's a part of the group, though, I would assume.
Oh, yeah.
After all this time. You guys have any bands in high school that you were part of that were preceded the Rush group?
Actually, it's been the same. We joined Rush like almost 11 years ago. And it's just been the same band ever since.
What's it like growing up in Canada? We've talked to a couple of guys who, like from April Wine,
Oh, yeah.
that were up here. They're from Canada, but I wonder how it compares growing up and listening to rock and roll in high school in Canada as to the United States. Must be a comparable experience, I would think.
I think it was a little different in Toronto because most American cities have had a lot more radio, a lot more exposure for different kinds of music. I mean, you could still get the music to you, but you just have to work a little harder to find certain groups, that wouldn't be played on the air on radio or...
How did you go about doing this?
Well, you go to the local import section of the record stores and search through. And they did have some good shows on radio. There was only one radio station at the time in Toronto that played progressive music.
Which one was that?
That was Chum FM in Toronto. And they played some pretty good stuff back then. And now, of course, there's like 3 radio stations, but it was a little difficult. I mean, in Toronto, you were lucky because there at least was an FM station, but in smaller towns in Canada, there was nothing. So it's very difficult to find out about the newest trends in music and things like that.
Which bands were you listening to at this time, that long ago, that became influential on what you'd sound like as a group?
Well, I guess originally was, Cream
Cream and Hendrix.
and Zeppelin and
Who?
all the ones that were great back then, still great now. And then all kinds of new things came up, and naturally, the better the new things that came up, the more that they influenced us as well.
You mentioned the Zeppelin band. A lot of people have said that Rush sounds an awful lot like Zeppelin. Is that something that bothers you? I've heard that a couple of times in magazine articles.
Well, yeah, in our early career, it was obvious that they were people that we listened a lot to, so, I mean, you can't really deny that as an influence. But I think as of our 2112 album, it's sort of really, I don't think that that influence is very evident anymore.
You have your own style, sure.
Yeah, I like to think so.
There are probably a lot of groups that are developing today who have listened a lot to Rush and copied some of your things, I would think. Let's play a tune, then we'll come back and talk for a little bit longer, okay? Here's more from Rush on WABX. Okay, back to Geddy and Alex on WABX. There's a story here. We have this news service. This comes from San Francisco, and it's called Starship, and it says, amongst other things, members of the group Rush are taking a break from their touring to sponsor a young woman who will attempt to swim Lake Ontario. Now, that was supposed to happen this past weekend, but what's the story behind that?
The weather was bad last weekend, so she's trying it, I think, next weekend.
Geddy, we need you to project us a little more.
Hello.
There you go.
Okay. Yeah, the weather was bad last weekend, so we're getting her to. Well, she's decided to do it again this weekend.
How'd this all come about that you would sponsor a swimmer?
Well, last year we were approached by a young girl who needed some sponsors to. She wanted to do the swim last year, and she needed some sponsors to do it, and we thought it was a worthwhile thing to do. So we said, sure, we'll back you. And I think there was a local radio station that was willing to back her as well. So both of us sort of backed her. And she made the swim, and 4 miles from the other side, because the weather was really bad, she had to be pulled out of the water because the water was too cold, and she was losing it.
Name is Elizabeth Plank, it says here.
Yeah.
And she's only 15.
That's right. And if she does it, like that was last year, and she failed, but came real close, so she's insisted on trying it again. And we said, well, since we went with her last year, we might as well back her again. This time we backed her on our own, and she's trying it again next week. And if she does it, she'll be the youngest woman to ever swim the lake. So it's
Quite impressive.
Yeah.
Yes. What do you have to do? I mean, just pay for her rehearsal time or practice, or is this just...
I don't know what we pay for. We pay for something.
I see.
It's for all her training.
Yeah.
It's a great deal of time spent all through last winter in swimming pools in different areas and stuff like that.
You gentlemen swim yourselves?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not Olympic or anything.
Not
as
across
a-
lakes.
Keep afloat for a while.
Just spend some time on Lake Huron on the Canadian side. People over there are saying A all the time.
Yes.
I thought that was rather unusual, and I learned to say, what is the word for cheese? I've forgotten it already.
Fromage.
Fromage.
That's
yes.
right.
And L-A-I-T is lay. That means milk.
Milk.
Everything in Canada, I noticed, had the two languages, for all the opening instructions and contents, ingredients,
Cereal
etc.
boxes.
You guys have some rather bizarre themes. I was thinking in terms of the tune, the necromancer. Necromancer is somebody who has a sexual relationship with the dead. Is that
No,
right?
that's a necrophiliac.
Oh, necrophilia. Okay, what's a necromancer then? That's
A
devilish.
necromancer is, I
One
guess,
who speaks to the dead.
yes, one who's in contact with the dead and sort of represents evil.
Will this be someone related to the devil?
I guess it's a sort of a fantasy fairyland type of description of what the devil represents. Yeah.
A lot of the Rush tunes have one of the things that I guess I appreciate about them is that so many of them are of a subject matter beyond the standard rock and roll. Let's do it in the back of the car. And one of my favorite Rush tunes, I guess, would have to be Fly By Night, which I don't know how you look upon it, but I hear that as a tune that says we all have our options. We can look back and see what's happened, and we can look ahead and say, here's what it's going to be like. And
That's very true. Yeah. That's basically what the song is. It's sort of breaking away.
change my life again.
Yeah.
I want to play that, if that's all right.
Okay.
This is Rush on ABX, a tune called Fly By Night. What a great song that is, Fly By Night. There's a future indeed. If you only take charge of your life and plan it and then go after it, I guess. Something like that. Anyway, that's what I hear in that song, and I'm sure that everybody has their own interpretation, their own meaning that they derive from it, and that's okay, isn't it?
Sure. That's the point.
Sure. Listen, I have a couple of people on the phone here that would like to talk to you guys. We have in our studio Geddy Lee and Alex Lifeson of Lifeson. Is that correct?
Lifeson, right.
Of the band Rush. And let me see if I can make this thing happen, okay? Okay, this should be John on the phone. Are you there, John?
Yes.
Can you gentlemen hear John?
I can barely hear you.
John, you're going to have to talk up a little bit, okay, pal?
Okay, how's that?
Okay, I can hear you.
This Geddy?
Yep.
I'll just say I think you guys are great.
Oh, thank you.
You're not going to see it at Pine Knob, but I'm going to ask you a question.
Okay.
You think if you guys ever tour again in the future, that you might do something off Crosses Steel, like do the Necromancer live?
That's a possibility.
Did you ever attempt that? No, because I like that, because, I got that, the Rush tour book,
Yeah.
and it said that was, like, referred to as the Down the Tubes tour.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, didn't that sell good or something?
No, it didn't do too well. We did tour that album, and we did a tour where we played almost everything from that album. But
Because I think that's an excellent album. I dig it a lot.
oh, great! Thank you very much.
So, let's say I think you guys are great, and I'll see you at Pine Knob tonight.
Okay, we'll see you there.
All right, thanks a lot.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for calling, John. You gentlemen going to be performing any new material on this
Yeah,
tour?
we are actually, which is basically the point of the tour. We wanted to do a tour. We just came off about 2 months off, and we wanted to go out and do about 4 weeks of dates so we could warm up and prepare ourselves for recording the next album. And we did all our writing for the next album in advance of this tour so we could perform some. So that's why we're doing this tour, and we're doing a couple of new tunes tonight at Pine Knob.
After this tour, then will be the recording and then
We'll
the
go right
album.
into the studio when we finish this tour.
And the album will be out, can you anticipate that?
Hopefully between Christmas and, early January, somewhere around there.
A few months. Okay, we have that to look forward to. We have somebody else on the phone. This gentleman is from Melvindale, Michigan, and his name is Uriah Hamilton, okay? Uriah, talk a little bit louder than you normally do, okay?
Okay.
You're on the air with Rush. What's on your mind?
Okay, on the 2112 album, at the end of the song, on the grand final, where it says, we have taken control, is that supposed to be the computers or the elder race?
Well, that's an ending. It's like a William Castle film that it's sort of left up to your own judgment to see who actually wins out in the end. But as far as our interpretation goes, it was the people that were coming in from this ideal place that our hero has always been dreaming of. Before he kills himself, he dreams of this ideal place where it's a utopian sort of society, and these people are coming in from this society to take over and I guess free everybody. But it's really open to your own interpretation. As to whether the best.
Yeah, okay. And concert tonight at Pine Knob, is it going to be the same tour, the Hemispheres?
Not exactly. No, there's new songs and
The set's been changed as
the
well.
set's been changed around. It's a little different than the last time we were here.
Because I was at the Cobo Hall concert, but I wasn't able to get to the Pine Knob one to get the tickets.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think people that don't see it here will get a chance to hear the new material when we come around next time, whenever that'll be. But this tour is it is a little different from the last time we were here.
Well, you did a great show, man.
Thank
It
you.
was great.
Thank
Okay, Uriah, thanks a lot for calling. We do appreciate it.
Okay.
Okay, anyway, the Pine Knob for the band called Rush, and that's going to be tonight. Who's playing on the show?
Pat Travers.
Ah, how exciting. Boom, boom, out go the lights.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, wow. A major rock and roll event. That'll be wonderful. I didn't realize that till just now. I wish I'd have known before. Okay, well, listen, that's our lunch program. We'd like to thank you gentlemen for coming up today, and want to urge everybody to get down to Pine Knob and see you play. It's going to be a real fine show, I'm sure. Thanks, Henry, for bringing these gentlemen over. And here's one more tune from Rush on WABX. This is called the Cinderella Man.